Hey guys, it's Matt. Neil, if you're listening, the main theme of this video will be the back and forth we had via email about what I consider to be a fake wake up taking place. Remember when I showed you just a few seconds of Twitch and the complete idiocracy that the younger generation is involved with, and I said I had never been to Twitch, and it was just absolute utter nonsense. But the first one I went to, the very first capture that I got, 20 seconds off Twitch, she was talking about a psyop, and I said, look, she's talking about a psyop or things that we talk about. There's a fake wake up going on. It's 100% managed by Not Milk, and it is going exactly like the Not Milk planned. That's the theme of this presentation. First, that we're coming close to the end of the year, and we want to, as usual, thank Bill for all the 1,000 hours of work he's put in on the posters that have helped us get through the year and have complemented many of the themes that we're talking about. This one's a little different, but we all are looking forward to seeing Anderson Cooper tonight, aren't we? It says, if you're long-haul trucking, keep your eyes on the road. A very old photo showing Willie Nelson and Keith Richards building the pyramids. I thought, isn't this one of the leading theories from the Egyptologists that make their $800,000 at Oxford, Cambridge, Yale, and Harvard and get jacked off in the coat closets? See, the Egyptologists, we've talked about this, but there's nothing better or more funny in the world to talk about. The Egyptologists never want a true and definitive explanation about the Giza pyramids, because that would put their spiritually broke asses out on the street. They never want it solved. Finally, we can close the books on who built these. Anderson Cooper's reporting live from Giza. And do you think, let's place bets. Maybe you can place bets at FanDuel whether he'll be drunk again tonight in his horrible, wretched New Year's Eve show. How many times have you heard more people are waking up now than ever before? It's actually just the opposite. Those that are considering certain conspiracies to be valid and justified, a whole younger generation, for example, or Generation Alpha, maybe if you survey them, 60, 70, 80% may not believe in the Apollo moon missions. That is not a wake-up, folks. Getting people involved into another layer of graduated animal farm, or what they say, a revelation of the method, revealing certain truths just to get people stuck in certain levels of conspiracy, that is not wake up. Wake up is the final ultimate level that we are somewhat getting close to. I'm not arrogant enough or big enough of an asshole to come out here and say we have it all figured out, but we are viewing this reality as a big picture exercise. How many times have you heard me say, get in the hot air balloon, go up to 100,000 feet, see what's happening on the hole. You can't see the hole if you're in the weeds. Have you ever heard me say that? You can't see the hole if you're examining with the finest detail your specific conspiracy, of which you pride yourself as to becoming an expert in that specific conspiracy. The Not Milk at this point loves people that dive into specific conspiracy. What was said on Twitch, I went back and listened to it from my own video. So the airline industry, that's a psyop from the airline industry. Everything's a psyop. But at that level, the Not Milk's in love with it, because it has to continue to move people down the graduated farms, which keeps them from seeing the whole. What is the whole? Oh, I'm sorry, old guard, I got to say it. You got to say it again? One sentence. The whole of what's happening here, not the specific conspiracy. What the whole of the trickster is trying to do to you, keep you distracted, part to the work from what you're supposed to do here. It's one sentence what the adversary is up to. It will release over the course of decades thousands of little what seem like wake-up breadcrumbs. If at some point 95% of Generation Alpha doesn't believe in Neil Armstrong and a buzzed cauldron, then Not Milk loves that. They don't fear that because they know only 1/2% is going to slip through that net to go on as we're trying to go on and see the whole of what's happening here. Here's a timely classic just sent in from Bill with the subject matter that you will recognize. Again, more people are waking up. People are waking up. No, they're not. No, they're not. Pick a conspiracy. whatever, just throw a dart against my wall here of post-it notes. Certain wars are not what they seem, or the Civil War, or whatever. Again, any of the thousands of topics. Millions of people are making millions of Twitch videos, and they're mentioning things on TikTok. The conspiracy is all over TikTok at this point. The Not Milk is not only not concerned with how many people are diving into all the different conspiracies, it's exactly what was planned. This revelation of the method that knows in the fluid reality things can't stay stale and stagnant. It must move, things must flow, but as long as the river flows in the direction that the Not Milk wants, then the Not Milk's fine with it. It just can't, it knows it can't keep things static, where every new generation is going to come in and believe in Neil Armstrong and a buzzed cauldron. It's not, they know it's not going to work. It has little breadcrumbs have to be put down so people start thinking differently about certain things. But it all amounts to the same distraction, or at least a different form of the distraction, to keep people away from the big picture as to what is going on in reality itself, who they really are, and what they're supposed to do with a very short lifetime. It's the same sentence, as I said, every time. And I am really frustrated with conspiracy channels at this point that are still looking specifically at their little conspiracy, the details of which they keep flowing through their one topic. Thousands and thousands of new things come up every year to look at, of course. That's what the Not Milk does as a conspiracy generation machine. And there's still, how many channels, but this channel, are trying to look at reality as a whole. I mean, it's very rare in what you would call the truth research community. I mean, there are channels that there have been so many strange details and circumstances about all the research that they've put in over 10 years. Just thousands of things and connections and ley lines and this and that. You go, wait a second. How could this possibly have happened? You can't just keep saying advanced civilizations were here and it was covered up. You're just going to keep saying that every time? Let me just end this channel and put it on record and playback. Advanced civilizations were here, it's been covered up. Rewind the tape. Advanced civilizations were here, it's been covered up. Rewind the tape. Advanced civilizations were here, it's all been covered up. It's not good enough. You have to look at reality itself. Then I have to see what the Not Milk wants from me regarding these types of conspiracy researchers that I get so frustrated with. It wants me to call them out. It wants me to fight with them. In general, I'm pointing out what I believe to be their mistakes, but I'm not picking specific fights because that's what it wants. It wants Matt to come forth and say, hey man, this is Matt. Quantum ecology. So you're saying that every single map in this whole area, every single map was covered up and changed, and the Philadelphia City Hall was here, or whatever. It was all here, but it was all covered up, and the oral history of what your great grandmother told your grandmother, somehow they came in and MK Ultra'd her, and the oral tradition of, hey, when we got here, grandpa, great grandpa, from 1820s, that these big buildings were here. Nobody built them. They were all here. This was a part of Atlantis and shit. Lemurian shit. All the oral tradition didn't carry forth, and all the maps were changed, and all the old paintings were changed. It wants me, Matt, in a way, by presenting your example, you are, in your own sick way, fighting with them. You know what? I think I just fell into the trap. Matt, you just said you're not fighting with them, but then you're fighting with them. I think I just fell into the trap. I'm not going to do it anymore, but I had to at least say a few things about that. Say, hey, man, let's have a big debate as to what was here and what wasn't. No, reality itself is a very fluid, very strange thing that cannot be understood while we're in this smelly, stinky body. So this is the era, and who knows how many decades it will take, of the fake wake-up. Well, it probably will never end. The fake wake-up, where everybody of a certain generation, especially the younger generation, will latch on to all these different conspiracies and see that the history books were wrong. And eventually they'll just keep so much nonsense going related to NASA, related to what we were told about the original missions, that it just will just go away. And the new generations, it'll go to 95% doesn't accept it, 95% think it's bullshit. Close to 100% soon will think it's bullshit. It'll never be a exact time when it's declared that this history, or what we were presented in this area, keep using the moon landing as the example, is there won't be an exact time where it says, oh, this is bullcrap, and everybody together then revolts against the system, and we make strides moving forward. No, it knows exactly what it's doing. This is a very worthy adversary. It will just normalize itself. It's this revelation of the method. Horse shit. What, I don't know what that is. Matt, you keep spouting. I don't know what it is. It's more related to the secret societies or whatever. What's that guy that there was some guy that had this famous talk about the revelation of the method. He said something very strange, like they ran. He knew so much or something. I don't know his name, and please don't even bother with the comments. We're done with this horse shit. If we're done with it, why are you talking about it? I don't know. It just popped in my head. Give me a break. He said he knew so much about how the secret societies work. They would run up to him and say, "You're initiated," or something ridiculous. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, I can't stand that word, initiated. Never join any group. Never put a logo on anything. Never be your own person. What about yourself? So this is a fake time of wake up, as long as it can keep those that believe they're waking up trapped at certain levels. Matt, this sounds very similar to what happened to us 15 years ago. Yes, we were the guinea pigs. I'm sure, absolutely. This is a worthy adversary. It knows what it's doing, sir. We were the guinea pigs. It tested all of its shit on us. And Matt, you have to be aware that even you could still be falling for it. Of course, I keep that on the table, that we're still falling for at least a little bit of it, if not a lot of it. At least I keep it on the table. That gives me an advantage. Okay, it tested all its shit on us. That's how it perfected its craft. All the shit it put us through, mistakes on purpose, shit to intentionally wake us up to see how we would react, to see how others would react to us. Now it's rolling its beta test out to the masses. Go to Twitch, go to Twitter. I don't go to these platforms. Instagram, TikTok. There's millions of freaking mentions of conspiracy. Of course. It is absolutely exactly what the not nulk intends. And then if does anybody think, or do the people doing this, as we did 12 years ago, we thought, we're getting to the bottom of it. It must be scared. Oh, we're really seeing through things now. It must be shaking in its boots. We didn't realize that we were doing exactly what it wanted for the most part. Looking at reality as a whole, seeing how simple it is, doing part two the work, separating from it. These are very simple concepts, and I don't think it's worried about that. I don't think it's worried if one half of 1% are doing what we're doing and completely separating from it or seeing through it. I don't think it cares one bit. It's like an Olympic-sized pool, but with a few drops that spill over the edge. I don't think it cares about us. We're going to lose these people over here. Well, fine. We'll lose them. Do we have the masses? Is the pool just as high? Do we have all these other trillions of drops of water in the pool? Sure. It's going to lose some of us. And hopefully, in considering this really bad analogy, hopefully we would be considered the drops that spill over the edge. I hope. But Matt, we could still be being used. Of course we could still be being used. So let's pause for a second, simplify, and go back and do no truth or child left behind. If you're a little confused, 1 minute or less. If people are talking about conspiracy topics on these different platforms, and the younger generation doesn't believe this and that, and there is 1,000 different topics that show that the history books are off, or the way government said this happens is not really the way it happens, that is not waking up. That is a false wake up. Remember what Flava Flav said about 911 is a joke. Flava Flav, he says 911 is a fake lifesaver. What's going on now, attaching to these conspiracies and saying, wait a second, this was all a lie, and I'm going to dive into it. That is a fake wake up. It can present an unlimited number of graduated animal farms and reality levels that all have to do with conspiracy to keep people away from the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is always the one sentence about a personal realization of who they really are. Not what the knot milk is, not what the screen is, not what the plumber's ass crack is, but who you really are. That's what all of this is trying to hide. What you truly are. Once you realize that, we're getting a sense for it, but there's more to do. That's if it is afraid of anything, it's afraid of that. The Lefty, the salesman segments on Sesame Street, where he sells Ernie a bunch of horse shit. These are the most useful presentation skits ever presented to children in the history of the world. You know my favorite one? Lefty actually sells Ernie air. Psst, hey, bub. Hey, I can't do the Ernie too well. You want to buy what I got? You want to buy some air? You think about it. You can sniff it. you can breathe it. It's necessary for, and I have it right here, bub. And I'm very interested. and my favorite part. He doesn't even give him the bottle. He got out of the trash can. He gives him, it's a nickel, whatever, for kids, it seems a lot of money to a kid, whatever. Today it would be $5. He pours the air out of the bottle into Ernie's hands. Ernie believes he's bought something of value. He doesn't even give him the bottle. Now these segments in their entirety, I don't know how many there are. I could watch them back to back to back, how many there are. The most useful thing ever in the history of the world ever shown to young kids, because the not milk literally is Lefty. And it will sell its shit, and now it's selling its conspiracy. It is Lefty approaching, the younger generation. Hey, psst, hey, bub, you know what they said about this and that in your textbook? It's all wrong. Let me show you this TikTok video. Let me show you that. Let me get involved in that. This is all bullshit. But then nothing ever comes out of it. The younger generation is becoming so brain damaged that they just will go back to they don't care. It's to put so much conspiracy on the plate. I think it's an over inundation. Sometimes when so much food is put on the plate and you believe you have to eat it all, you're no longer hungry. You don't want to eat. It's just, I don't want to eat all this. It seemed good, but now there's like a piece of meatloaf. What if Grandma Leone piled up like 7 or 8 gigantic slabs of meatloaf? A little piece looked good with a little mashed potatoes, and it's just sitting in front of you like a gigantic mountain, oozing gravy. Like, I can't eat this, man. You're thinking about how you're going to feel after you eat it. That's what it's doing now to the younger generation with the conspiracy. With the idea is some will dive into the details and it will be a conspiracy generation machine, and it will generate those details in an unnatural way forever, which for some reason most of our truth brethren just can't seem to understand that it's a false reality in a conspiracy generation machine. We're like one of the only ones that can see that, and it should be obvious since 2007, but it took us a while to wake up to it too. It will involve people in the complexity of its details, but for most, they'll just, the real brain damaged younger generation, most will just say that it's 8 or 9, 10 pieces of meatloaf piled up. They'll just say, I can't deal with all that. Whatever, fine. I got bigger things to worry about. The world isn't what they seem. The history books are wrong. Fine. Let me just go over here and smoke my drugs and leave me. It wants complete and utter apathy. People just don't give a shit. Okay, fine. Everything's not what it seems. I got bigger problems like paying rent or whatever. Let me just go back to my opium den over here, that's then the of course the modern day opium dens will be coming soon. The complete immersive digital environment with a headset, full immersion, where there is some sort of, in an opium den, some sort of IV attached, so you're getting the complete drugged out and visual experience at the same time. And then the government will soon start. Will pay for you if you want. If you're addicted to that, they'll pay a living wage. We know you can't work, but that's fine. And then eventually, the Matrix is basically a documentary. Then eventually, the people will go into a pod. Look, okay, all the details aren't worked out, but I am 100% sure, and I could be wrong. I am sure myself. I could be wrong, but I am completely convinced, 100%. That every talk of wake up, other than it's in certain little circles, this general talk of wake up is so false, and it is all by design. This not milk is incredible evil genius. And from the younger generation's perspective, the 500th time they heard that this is bullcrap, or this is not what it seems, and then it was somewhat interesting. Maybe they paid attention to a little bit. Maybe they had 1 or 2 conspiracies they dove into themselves. When they heard it 1,000 times, from their social media platforms that this is a psyop. And remember back to the Twitch, the first segment I ever recorded on Twitch, the first thing I ever heard on Twitch. Within 10 seconds, the girl said, "This is a psyop of the airline industry," she says. The first thing. I said, well, this must be going on millions of times a day. So the younger generation, the 1,000th time they hear it, I think it's not that exciting anymore. The 20,000th time, then it's not exciting at all, and they just don't give a shit. Well, Matt, we've been involved in this we're just completely different genus and species, if you had to classify it with that sort of a word I just will make up now, taxonomy. We're different than they are. And what we've done, we had to go through the conspiracy slog and the conspiracy bog to get out the other side with a spiritual understanding. Not an understanding of more conspiracy or what was the doomsday plane doing flying around Washington. You see how ridiculous the specific elements of the conspiracy are when we have these sorts of conversations? Matt, that's from, I'm going to do that Conan thing. I fear my son will never understand me. What was the doomsday plane flying around? It's all those specific elements. Matt, did the pilot of Flight 11 really exist? You could see how absurd the specifics of each conspiracy are when you get a sense as to the big picture, as to what's going on here. So somebody may come along and say, well, Matt, we used the conspiracy, like you said, to get through the bog and to step out the other side. After all the specific conspiracy we analyzed for 10, 12, 15 years, we stepped out of the bog and we're better off for it. We've left it behind. We have a better understanding as to what this reality or the dark part of reality is trying to do to us or keep us from. And of course, that leads us to a better understanding about ourselves. Matt, we did it. We came out the other side. But maybe I don't want to be too negative here. It's almost like there was a window open or a short period of time, or it needed to use us as a beta test, whatever that is, to see how to manipulate, to see what it can throw at people, mistakes on purpose, how they'll react, how many people will get sucked in further, how many people will be able to step out of the bog. It's almost like we took advantage, and this is very negative, and I don't even know why I'm saying it. I really should stop to think about it, but I sometimes what comes out is the closest thing to truth. Sometimes it's just stream of consciousness. It's like there was a window where some of us were able to get out the other side. What does your inner knowing tell you? Even though, Matt, you could say, well, Matt, all the stuff on Twitch and Twitter and TikTok and whatever is like the three T's, the three Mr. T's. Matt, they could someday emerge from their bog into a better spiritual understanding. Does your gut feeling say that window is closed? It kind of does, doesn't it? I don't know why I'm saying that, and it's very negative, but I'm not saying, let's just say it's not impossible, but it allowed many of us to come out the other side, where I think now that they've perfected their release of conspiracy, or perfected their idiotic term, the revelation of the method, they've perfected it where the net is tighter. Do you feel that? How many people in this younger generation, no matter how much conspiracy they dive in, how many are going to be able to slip through the net? Well, Matt, it's awfully arrogant. You're assuming that you and others here, you all slip through the net, you all special or something. It seems like we have, doesn't it? Okay, like I say 1,000 times now, I'll keep on the table, we're just as fooled as everybody else. But really? I don't think we are. Okay, I really don't. Because it cannot play these ridiculous games, and intelligent people eventually will see what's going on here. Okay, we are blind to our true nature, and we'll never truly understand it. But it is once you step back far enough, its games are very basic and rudimentary. It just can't be seen when you're close to it. For some reason earlier, via stream of consciousness, the Public Enemy song 911 is a joke from Flava Flav, and Chuck D popped up. So we're going to close with this. Is going to be probably nonsense, but I do want to look at the news headlines again. There's another one I checked on Duluth and Dubuque, another headline about a CIA strike on Venezuela via the Trump administration. It's very strange how they put that. I've never seen it like that. The strike on Venezuela wouldn't be from the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, the Army, whatever it may be. It's very clearly says CIA strike. I mean, that's just strange the way they're putting that. I'm not sure why I'm even mentioning that, but I want to do the Venezuela news headline to close after this. But guys, this, I mean, you want to, if somebody is listening to the first part of this presentation and they thought some intelligent things were being said, I'd like to lose all credibility now because, of course, this is 1990. Flava Flav. Am I allowed to even imitate the song Bot without a copyright problem? Nine. I call a cab because the cab will come quicker. Is it mad? In some way, it's an allusion to what would be coming in 2000. Of course it is. Of course, it all is. Of course it is. Flava Flav was in on it? No, he didn't know anything. Chuck D was in on it? No, but that's just how reality works. 911 is a joke. I mean, of course it's an allusion to what would be coming. This is 1990. That means it would be coming 11 years later. Pootie Tang Award. Call a cab because the cab will come quicker. 911 is a fake lifesaver. That's Flava Flav does more. His rapping is really horrible. Chuck D's rapping is really good, and that to me is rap. That's hip hop rap, not this new horse shit. What was that little demon that we looked at the other? Lil Wayne. People of this channel stepped up to try to defend Lil Wayne and his demonic degeneracy. Chuck D, that's a real rapper, dude. My God, what is it? So I do some Chuck D for you. Most of my heroes don't appear on no stamp. What is it? Elvis was a hero to most. Elvis, straight up racist, simple and plain. F him and John Wayne. That was disturbing the first time I heard. Did he just say fuck John Wayne? Wait a second. Am I supposed to like this or be offended by this? I don't care. I like the song anyway. What do I have in common with John Wayne? I was 15 when I heard the damn lyric. So this is, of course, an allusion. Imagine if any one of my family stumbled upon this video. They would say that he made some sense in the first part, but this is ridiculous. It's actually not. What the Not Milk is doing on the whole is ridiculous if you can't see through it. And I'll close today's video with the latest headlines about Trump's attacks on Venezuela. And I had to cut the image in half again because it's from Spaghetti Scrimmages. And I'll mention it every single time. Could it possibly be a real world when one corporation controls 90% plus of all the worldwide images that flow through media outlets all over the world? When there's 50 million pictures a day taken from cameras in the 4K or 8K, and all those pictures from cameras are free? They're all free, but you pay in spaghetti. Okay, Matt, stop doing that every time. President Donald Trump has thrust the country into a significant new phase in his showdown with Venezuela with a CIA strike on a port facility. Couple things here. They use these words for a reason, folks. Has thrust the country. They use that. They use it for a reason. And here it is again. A CIA strike. What's that all about? Would it be a Department of Defense strike? They use the military. See, they're almost like they're pointing out the autonomy, whatever that word means, of the CIA, and pointing out the independence or autonomy of the deep state. There's something weird going on here, but let's continue. But as he approaches grave new decisions on even greater escalations, his team has not yet spelled out a clear, consistent public rationale for its actions, nor has it prepared the country for what might come next. Well, that doesn't make sense because it's the antithesis of what I tried to do in yesterday's video, trying to say, well, what do they say is going on here? I didn't know. I've never spent more than 10 minutes on it. We found something from the BBC that tried to summarize why Trump is doing it. But right here today, the next day on CNN, saying he hasn't justified why he's doing it. Well, BBC said because of the wave of immigrants that Venezuela has dumped into the United States. Remember, it used the words opened up its insane asylums, opened up its Shawshank prisons, and it also said, what was the other thing for BBC? It said, of course, the drug boats, of course, the drug running and the drug boats, it's from Venezuela, and it's all from Maduro, and he's involved with these cartels. That at least the BBC tried to sum it up. Well, right here it says he hasn't even given, it says is not yet spelled out a clear and consistent public rationale for its actions. This Not Milk is a master at confusion. People reading this go, well, I thought it was about the drug boats. What do you mean? Yes, and there's more reasons coming. It's a master at confusing people, leaving people hanging, and of course, setting up its next move on the chessboard. I mean, look at the last line. Nor has it prepared the country for what might come next. You know what should come next if anything were real? If it was a real president with real real votes counted, he'd say, "Oh, you know what? I think I'm changing my ways here. I can't punish a whole country just to get back on one man." And they probably have the capabilities of getting that one man. If you understand where I'm going with this, and maybe they could, I'm just saying, arrest him. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could probably get him if they wanted it. I'm not going to punish a whole country and blow out a port so they can't get their Camel cigarettes delivered anymore. I'm not going to punish the whole country for the actions of one man. If it's all the fault of this dictator, Maduro, go in and arrest him. Or, as I suggested, there are other things that can be done that may not be able to be talked about here. Even one kid standing at the border with a Radio Shack drone could probably do something, because they know where he sleeps and they know where he has his eggs and beans and ham in the morning. So what did Longshanks say to his son about the William Wallace problem in Braveheart? And what would my son suggest we do about William Wallace? And the son says, what does he say? He says, have the local magistrate arrest him like any common brigand. That's what they should do to Maduro, of course. And then Longshanks says, Wallace has already killed the magistrate and sacked the town. Well, that went a little bit different for Longshanks, but it could be much different for Donald Trump if they just took the advice of his son in Braveheart and just have the local magistrate arrest him. And if not, send some kid with a Radio Shack drone in there packed with you-know-what and put it right where he eats breakfast. Thanks for listening. See you next time. What the hell? Why do I keep doing that same bat channel, same bat time thing? Tomorrow is a big holiday, so of course there'll be a video. You think I've got a party to prepare for tonight? Think again.